The office was too quiet. The hum of Abuja traffic outside the glass tower had just faded, swallowed by a thick silence of the evening. The last rays of the sun slipped behind the skyline, leaving the corridor in a dim amber glow. From her desk, Uche could hear the faint tick of the clock on the wall, each second heavier than the last. She was alone, or so she thought. Her hands hovered over her keyboard, but her mind wasn't on her work. Her eyes kept drifting to the wide door across her office, the door that led into Mr. Former's office. The polished mahogany desk inside glowed under the ceiling light, too perfect, too clean, too guided. The shiver crawled down Uche's spine. She didn't know why, but she felt as if something or someone was watching her. The air was unusually cold, and the hum of the air conditioner was louder than usual, as if the machine itself was breathing. She tried to shake off the feeling. "Uche, calm down," she whispered to herself, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "You are just tired," she said. But her eyes betrayed her. Sliding again to the boss's office, she remembered the way Mr. Ford had rushed out earlier today, sweat rolling down his forehead, his phone ringing in his pocket. His smile had been forced, and his steps too quick for a man who always carried himself with calm confidence. He didn't even lock his office door. The silence pressed harder. Uche rose from her chair, her heels clicking softly against the tile floor. She felt her knees weaken as she passed the boss's, its golden handle cold against his arm. The office welcomed her with the scent of leather and strong cologne. The furniture stood in a quiet authority, a massive shelf filled with books, a black silver chair tucked neatly behind the desk, and a glass table with untouched bottles of imported wine. Everything was in its place, perfect, almost too perfect. Then, as she bent to pick up a file from the floor, her eyes caught a glint of metal, something shining, hidden in the shadows beneath the desk. Her heart jumped. She clutched slowly, pressing her palm against the cool floor, her fingers stretched, trembling until they touched a small object, metallic, cold. When she pulled it out, her breath caught in her throat. It was a key, a small black key, marked with a strange letter, DCI Confidential. Her lips parted, her eyes wide. The office seemed to darken around her, the shadows stretching, the silence heavier than ever. She held the key tight, her chest pounding. By the time Uche sat back at her desk, her minds were still trembling. The small black key weighed heavier in her palm, as if it carried a burden far greater than its size. It slipped it quickly into her drawer, shutting it with a soft click. But even as she tried to return to her computer screen, her mind refuses to settle. Her boss, Mr. Former, was not an ordinary man. He was the kind of man who commanded respect the moment he entered the room. Tall, with dark smooth skin and sharp features, he always dressed in clean, well-tailored suits. Not the kind bought at wholesale markets, but imported ones. Italian cuts that fit his broad shoulders perfectly. His shoes shone like glass, polished so thoroughly that one could almost see their reflection in them. His cologne was unmistakable, bold, rich, and expensive. Even long after he left a room, the scent lingered, wrapping the place like an invisible reminder that he had been here. His voice was calm, deep, and steady, the type that could both comfort and command. Many admired him. Staff whispered about his connections, his influence, and his smooth way of handling deals. To most, he was the definition of success, a man who had built his fortune through hard work, vision, and discipline. But Uche had seen cracks in that image. Sometimes, she would enter his office with a file and found him slamming a drawer shut too quickly, or minimizing something on his computer screen with unusual speed. He had noticed the way certain visitors slipped into his office quietly, never signing the visitor's logbook, never extending greetings in the open hallways. And then there was the phone calls, always answered in hushed tone, his face hard, his voice almost unrecognizable. Uche remembered the first day she met him. They had just finished her NYC in Ondo State, a khaki uniform still fresh in her memory. Her uncle, a senior staff in one of the oil companies, had made a call, and within days, she was sitting before Mr. Ofoma an interview. He had studied her closely, that her eyes sharp behind gold-rimmed glasses. She had worn a navy blue skirt suit and a white blouse, her hair tied neatly in a bun. He had asked about her degree in statistics, her service year, her dreams. Then, with a smile that revealed nothing, he had nodded. "You will do fine here, Miss Uche." And just like that, she was hired as his secretary. Her office was modest but professional. A smooth desk, a computer, a leather chair, and a cabinet filled with files. His office was a kingdom. The mahogany desks, the imported wine on the side table, the large bookshelves stacked with law, business, and oil manuals. Every corner whispered wealth and class. Yet, for all its beauty, there was something about that office that never allowed her to relax. At night, holding the mysterious key she had just discovered, she finally understood why. The days that followed were uneasy. Every time she sat at her desk, the black key seemed to burn in her memory, even though it was hidden away in her drawer. She couldn't shake the thought of what it might open, or why it was marked with the words DCI Confidential. Mr. Ofoma returned to the office as if nothing had happened. He carried himself with his unusual elegance, his gold wristwatch gleaming under the office light. But to Uche, everything about him now felt suspicious. She studied his movements carefully, and what she saw only deepens her fear. On Monday morning, he walked in speaking on his phone in a hushed tone. His deep voice was different, low, sharp, almost urgent. He barely noticed her greeting. Instead, he went straight into his office, shutting the door behind him. For the next 20 minutes, Uche could hear fragments of his conversation through the wooden panels. "No, not now. Wait for my signal. They must not find out." Her heart pounded. Who was he talking to, and what was it that they must not find? Later that afternoon, she entered his office with a stack of documents. The air inside carried his bold column, but this time she caught him shoveling something quickly into the bottom drawer of his desk. His eyes flicked up, sharp and accusing, as though he had caught him doing something wrong. "Didn't you learn how to knock?" he snapped, his voice cutting like a knife. Uche froze. "I did knock, sir. You didn't answer." He stared at her for a long moment, then signed and adjusted his tie. His smile returned, but it was short, thin, empty of warmth. Forgive me, Uche. Stress in my body, you know? Too many files." He chuckled, but his eyes did not. That night, long after everyone else had left, Uche lingered. Himself, she was finishing a work, but the truth was different. Uche wanted answer. She walked softly into his office, her nails barely clicking against the floor. She went to the drawer she had seen him shovel things into earlier, locked. Her breath caught. She knelt, her finger brushing the cool metal of the handle. For a moment, she imagined slipping the black key into it, imagined the sound of the lock turning, but fear stopped her. What if she was caught? The silence in the office felt heavier than before, as though the walls themselves were warning her. She pulled back, shutting the thought away. But as she left the office that night, she swore she heard a sound behind her, like the faint crack of the drawer opening by itself. She turned sharply, nothing, only the polished desks, climbing under the dim light, hiding its secrets. By midweek, Uche could no longer ignore the weight of the small key hidden in her drawer. Every time she typed a letter, flipped through a file, or answered a phone call, she felt it there, silent, waiting. Daring her, she told herself to ignore it. After all, she was only just a secretary. What business of hers has to do with her boss's private life? But curiosity ignored at her. Apart with each passing day, and with it came fear, an unshakable feeling that whatever Mr. Ofoma was holding inside those locked drawers was not something ordinary. Thursday evening gave her the chance. The office was almost empty, most staffs already gone. Outside, the Abuja traffic hummed with impatient horns, but inside, the building was quiet, its hallway echoing only with the faint rang of the fluorescent lights. Mr. Ofoma had left earlier than usual. His step brusque, his face stained. He had clutched a brown envelope under his arm, speaking to someone on the phone in an unusual hushed tones. Yes, I will meet them tonight. Just be ready," he said, before slamming the door behind him. Now, Uche sat on her desk, staring at the door to his office. Her palms were sweating, her heart raced. She knew that was the moment. Slowly, she rose, her heels tapping lightly on the tiled floor. She entered his office, and as always, the strong scent of his perfume hung in the air, wrapping around her like an invisible warning. The desk gleamed, reflecting the soft yellow of the ceiling light. He crouched in front of the drawer. She had seen him guided so fiercely. Her hands trembled as she reached into the pocket and pulled out the key. Black, small, and cold. The letter DCI Confidential caught in the light again. Her breath came quick and shallow. He pressed the key inside the lock. Click! The sound was soft but thunderous in her ears. Her pulse hammered in her chest as she turned slowly. The metal shifting against the lock's trembles. With a faint creak, the drawer slid open. Inside were stacks of files, thick envelope bound with red strings, each marked with strange codes and dates. Some had seals stamped across them, confidential, eyes only, or restricted. But that wasn't all. At the very back of the drawer lay a black notebook, its leather cover cracked at the edge, its pages thick with use. A golden pen rested across it as if waiting for her hand. Her fingers hovered around it. Then, finally, trembling, she picked it up. The first page was filled with neat handwriting, but as she read the first line, her stomach dropped. List of silent payments, accounts of the records. Page after page reviewed names, figures, and transactions. Money moved in secrets, amounts too large to ignore. Accounts in foreign banks. Some names she recognized, politicians, contractors, even a few known businessmen in Abuja. It's hard. Her boss wasn't just a corporate man. He was involved in something bigger, something darker. Then, from the back of the drawer, she noticed another object, a small flash drive, black with a silver tip. She put it back with shaking hands, her reflection staring back at her with its surface. At that moment, the office lights flicked once, twice, paid. Her heart froze. She shoveled everything back into its place quickly, slamming the drawer shut. Chest heaved as she rushed out of the office, clutching the notebook and the flash drive in her bag. And as she stepped into the empty hallway, she could swear she heard a whisper, low and sharp, almost like a voice carrying through the wall. You should not have opened it. All night, Uche could not sleep. She lay in her bed in her small flat at Gwarim, staring at the ceiling fan as it spins slowly, cracking with every turn. The notebook and the flash drive sat on her bedside table, almost glowing in the dim light. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the numbers, the names, the secret accounts written in that fine handwriting. But what troubled her mostly was the whisper she had heard in the office. Was this real or just her imagination? By morning, her resolve hardened. She needed to know more. She had to understand what was she caught into before it swallowed her whole. That evening, after everyone had left again, Uche returned to Mr. Former's office. Her hand shook as she unlocked the drawer the second time, pulling out the files, the notebook, and the flash drive. But this time, something caught her eyes. On the side of the drawer was a thin slit, almost invisible unless one looked closely. She brushed her fingers against it. It felt like another lock, smaller, hidden in plain sight. Her heart skipped. The key fit here too? She slid the black key into the slit. For a moment, nothing happened. Then she turned it. A soft click echoed in the office. The floor beneath the desk shifted slightly, a faint vibration running through the wood. He stumbled back, watching in horror as the panel on the side of the bookshelf clicked open, revealing a narrow door. Her leg went weak. A secret door? Here. The door led to a dark, narrow stairway, deep and cold, leading down into the belly of the building. The air smelled of dust and metal mixed with something faintly chemical. Clutching her phone for light, Uche descended the steps. Each crack of the old wood echoed like a scream. Her heart thumped louder with every step until she reached the bottom. The room was small but chilling. Stacks of log metal boxes lined in the walls. A steel table sat in the center, covered with papers, stamps, and bundle of cash wrapped in a plastic. On one corner of the table stood a laptop, its screen still glowing faintly as though it had been used recently. Uche's throat went dry. This wasn't just a secret storage room, it was a vault. A place where her boss kept record of transactions, hidden deals, and evidence no one was meant to see. She shone her phone light across the boxes and noticed markings. Shipment 09, Port Harcourt. Another read, Delivery to Owerri. Others had only numbers and initials. Her chest tightened as the realization hit her. These weren't just corporate records. These were operations, smuggling, laundering, something far beyond anything she had ever imagined. Then her phone light caught a small photograph pinned in the wall. She froze. It was her. The recent picture of her sitting at her own desk, completely unaware it had been taken. Beneath the photo, in a bold letter, was a note. Observe her. Do not trust her. Uche screamed death in her throat. She stumbled backward, her phone slipping from her hand and clattering on the floor. The sound echoed in the dark chamber, bouncing against the steel and the stone. In that moment, above her, she heard it. The faint, unmistakable sound of footsteps. Someone was coming.